All right, people, look. There are football fans, and then there are football fans. Like you. Blinged out logo sunglasses, mascot headgear, check, and check. And if you can't be there, you can be right here with NFL Sunday Ticket exclusive to YouTube TV. Get $50 off when you buy the whole season. Right there on the app. You know, you'll see it better if you take those sunglasses off. Make them smile. Make their moments. And make their dreams come true. Make a wish. Visit wish.org to help. Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey. Premium aged. Ruggedly refined. It's worth the wait. Is it money that drives him? They chasing the medal? She all
Again,
about.
yes, I have on the same shirt. So that means you've been busy. So yeah, if you see this episode, and it might be mixed around, but if you see this shirt, that's because the previous podcast I did 2 in a day. I'm working over here.
You work. You putting in work.
This is number 2. I get extra excited when I talk to folk from where I'm from. As most of you know, I'm a Florida boy through and through, and I got another one on here with me. So we're just two brothers from the bottom, as they call it, and we're gonna share a little VO insight and whatever else is under the sun. We just had an interesting conversation about his name, and we'll get into that as well. But coming to the stage, Mr. Torran Wakefield-Thompson.
That's right.
And I told him before I hit record, I had to get it out my system. For those of you who watch Living Single, Overton, the handyman, was Overton Wakefield Jones. And I'm like, I don't want to get on this show and be like, please welcome Torran Wakefield Jones and totally mess the man name up. So I had to get it out before the camera came on. So I'm glad.
Even if you did, it's all good. I'm talking to Tre Mosley, man. I'm gonna give you your flowers before this is all over, for sure.
You know, I'm learning to be more accepting of that, because I'm usually like, it's cool. No, it's not about me. But no, I'm gonna start taking them flowers like FTD. I'm gonna just take them.
Like, smell them roses while you can, man. That's what I say.
I want to smell them, not have them on top of me. So I appreciate that. But
there you go.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hanging out with you, man. Even though our roots are Florida based, you, like me, decide to hitch your wagon and move elsewhere. But before we get into that, on this show, we like to talk about the before. Before we was secluding ourselves into these small padded areas or large padded areas, only time we saw people in the room talking to themselves, they had a jacket like this.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that boy. He ain't right. Let me pray for him. But now we kind of got this little profession where we still talking to us.
That's what we do now.
That's what we do. Let's start with the background. Were you in the arts as a kid? What was young Tor? I mean, he's still young. Look at that brother, man. I'm over here.
Let's not get into my age, Tre. Let's not.
I'm over here turning into a white donut with all this,
Well, it's a good thing they don't have like a sharp camera, because if I did, you'll see a little bit of that too. But I'm just using the one on my computer, so it don't pick up the fine details. Let's just say that.
Notice he said a little bit of that. I got a lot of bit, but this ain't about me. But yeah, man. So talk about how what was your upbringing like? Were you in the arts? Were you I was a latchkey kid. For those of you who don't understand what that is, my parent was not home when I got home, so I had to not really fend for myself, but just don't kill yourself before mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what was life like for young T?
It was a little bit like that, actually, for myself. But when I was a kid and young, I was really heavy into sports mainly, and I played football a lot. I played basketball. I was into like all that stuff. I wasn't really so much into the performance stuff, actually, to be honest with you. It really didn't start for me until I would say high school. I was in like the drama club in high school, and so that kind of was like the start of it for me. And I didn't really even do too much acting in the drama club. It was just more just like let me just get a club to get out of class a certain period. You know what I mean? So a few of our friends, we all said like, no, to join drama because one of our friends was in it and she was like the president of the club and needed people to join. So like, okay, so I just joined. And I did like one duet acting scene for I think like the districts or state performance thing.
Hmm.
And doing that was pretty fun. Like, you know what I mean? That was my first time really getting in front of a bunch of people and performing and doing anything. And it was pretty well received. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? And I stayed in, I think that was just, I think a little bit of junior year and like senior year of high school and kind of messed around with it there. That's kind of where I got my start in it. But then going into college at the University of South Florida, go Bulls.
Ah,
Um, we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later.
yeah, yeah, we can.
Um, but yeah, so I got into like television production and studying journalism there, and that kind of took me on this path of realizing that I have a little bit of talent behind the mic, um, just from a professor in one of my classes. Kind of like put the idea in my head, and then I kind of ran with it from there.
Okay, cool. I laughed when you said that you're a bull from USF. My high school is Miami Northwestern, and we are the Bulls as well.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, so I was just like,
one
ah,
bull to another bull. There you go.
hey now. Um, it's funny you mentioned that you went to school for, or you were when you were there, you were doing television production. I remember um, as I got all the bejesus scared out of me because my door just opened, which means we will
Ooh.
be visited quite shortly by a small four-legged creature who,
Who you
he
talking to? Is that Torran Wakefield-Thompson you got on there?
yeah, he busts through like rent due, and he coming to get his money. Shout out to Smokey. But when I was younger, man, you know, I used to go to I was in AV production as well. I remember one of the first things I learned, um, and dating myself back then because it's all automated now,
Yeah.
where we had to learn how to white balance the cameras,
Oh yeah, same here.
and you know,
Same here.
it was, and for whatever reason, I just thought that was the coolest thing because when you see things on TV, you
Oh
don't
yeah.
realize what
All the
has
work that goes into
the work
making it.
that,
Yeah.
and here we go.
No,
Here we go. You
right
know,
in front of the camera. You got to leave
this
this in. You can't take this
no,
private.
I can't. I'm not gonna take it out. This is live, folks. This
This
is
is what we do.
yeah. But I learned
I
about
tell you,
white
I tell you
balance.
one thing real quick is that like more recently I've become a cat person. I was never really a cat person, and so a little bit more recently, a good buddy of mine has a cat, and I became really cool with him recently, just going over and visiting him, and because he was always scared of me, he was like a really true scaredy cat, and then I don't know, I guess he just really warmed up to me, and then I tend to go over other friends' house to have cats, and they are pretty cool with me. Like didn't want anything to do with them, but then they come to
Mhm.
me, and then
That's
people are like, there's some energy about you that like they attract them to you. Maybe because you're kind of standoffish towards them, that they want to come explore you a little
that's
bit.
usually what it is. It's like that Mariah Carey song. Love takes time when you're a cat owner
There you go.
because they can, uh, like Smokey and Danielle have the weirdest love hate relationship.
Really?
Uh, yeah, when we first started dating, the second time around, that's a whole nother story. Um,
You told me a
we'd
little
be
bit about that.
we'd be sitting on the couch, and he would like try to like get in, like yeah, I'm. He would hop in my lap and then look at her like
Yeah,
he's possessing me like
yeah.
mine, and like love me, and I'm trying to reach for. He's like, what you doing?
Trey is mine.
Like, it's my daddy. So they have their moments where he'll lay next to her, he'll let her pet him, and then all of a sudden he's like, get away from me.
Good for me. Yeah, I'm
I
done.
don't understand. This is 8 years now, and it's still that way.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, but yeah, just hearing you talk about the AV production,
Yeah.
that took me back, because like we were saying, you don't really when we see something that happens on TV or we're watching something that's televised, you don't know about the color correction and this. There's so much stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and I always thought that was fascinating. That once
Yeah.
I learned, like, oh, so you mean it, and then they show you the footage before, like, oh, yeah, I can see
Oh,
because
yeah.
why does he look blue? Well, they didn't properly white balance the camera, and we didn't get the right color correction. And a term that we often hear, they just fix it in post.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and that's a
Yeah.
real thing. They
But
really
that's what
do.
always that's what always fascinated me about it once I got into college and learning about all the different positions, the things that need to be done to put together a well-oiled machine in production.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was never the type of person that really wanted to be on camera anyway, but like it was just something that I thought was really interesting and cool. And I dove into it more there. And it kind of led me on this path of doing like production work and working behind the scenes all the time in different productions. So, but yeah, but I remember speaking on white balance, you mentioned it. Like, I remember one time we had a guy come in to explain us all this stuff about working like these particular cameras that we had. And we're like newbies at this stuff. So we're like with the white balance, get a white sheet of paper, put it there, do the settings and all that stuff. And
Hmm.
then he was like, this guy, I don't know where he was from, but he was like, you guys want to see something cool? Watch this. He takes the camera and this guy white balances off of a cloud in the
Wow.
sky. And I was like, what? And he
That's
was,
new to me.
yeah, that was like, I was like, man, he made us feel like we were inadequate. Like for real. I was like, damn.
Like you ain't have to go hard like that.
Yeah.
Let me show you young cats something.
Yeah.
And
You'll learn that eventually. You know what I
we're
mean?
ready. Really? All right. So production. Once you got a taste of that, now you said that a professor kind of gave you the nudge, like, "Hey, you
Yeah.
might want to." So talk a little bit about that, and what did he see or hear that gave him, the inkling that you might have something there, young brother.
Yeah. Well, it was a she,
Oh,
Trey. I'm just
my
kidding.
my bad.
I'm kidding. No, but like yeah, we had it was a television production class and we all had our assignments to do. And I think there was a group that put something together. And I think nobody in their group wanted to like voice this thing that they put
Oh,
together. So they just asked me to do it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, yeah, sure. So I did it. And we would always watch all of our projects together in class. And then so she was watching theirs, and then I voiced theirs or whatever. And then she's taking her notes or whatever, and she's kind of says, Torn, did you do this? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, you may want to like look into doing voiceover work. I think you could do something good here. You're very like I was a good student, you know what I mean? So she I had like kind of like the strong work ethic to work at something. And
sure.
so there was another professor there, an adjunct professor that did voiceover part time. And so she told me I should talk to him about it. And so I did. He gave me some information. And basically it was just kind of like do some research. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, so from there, I started doing a bunch of Googling and I figured I still kind of did stuff around, for my classmates, stuff people would ask me. I did some stuff, but then I think that was my last semester. And so I really kind of hit it hard with the research and looking at classes and all that at the end of that semester after I graduated. And, but yeah, so shout out to Kristen Arnold. I still talk to her to this day and she's a big supporter of mine.
Oh, that's
And,
what's up.
yeah, and she actually last holiday season when I was down there in Florida, she asked me to talk to her daughter. Actually, her daughter's a nice opera singer down at Florida State. Go
Nice.
Knowles. I like the Knowles too.
Boo.
I love these Florida conversations, these Florida things, man. But yeah, because she was looking into like, maybe possibly get into like voiceover stuff. So she was on my like just to have a conversation with her, and I did. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so she's the one that put it in my head. And then from there, I ran with it with doing a lot of research and eventually signing up for my first voiceover workshop, voice VO class.
Okay. Talk about that because, you know, there are gonna be folks that want to jump into this uh endeavor that we, there's work to be done.
Yeah.
Um and sometimes people feel like you can skip a step here and there, but those who know. I don't care if this is your first year or your 30th year, you still need someone to give you some type of something.
Hmm.
Now, this is my 16th year. Do I get coaching all the time? No. But if I feel like I need to brush up on something, um, I will. Matter of fact, I had a animation coaching session with uh, Christina Medina, former
Oh yeah.
Christina Milicia,
Hmm.
and she worked me. I was kind of offended. Like, you're not gonna talk to me. Like, she's like, why are you choosing that voice? I'm like, oh, that's what we do. Okay. She's like, yeah, you know, you don't have to sound that way. You know, try it like this and just be you. And she kept saying, be you. Um,
Hmm.
it was hard for me to hear that because, I coach not as much as I used to, but I'm usually the person, nah, why you sounding like that, man? Try this, or
Yeah.
that's not really, give me your best. I always say, give me your best you. And now to hear it being said to me, I'm like, what you mean? That's what I do. She's like, not for animation. That might work in promo. I'm like, yo, just
That's what I was gonna
straight.
say. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Especially if you aren't working in certain genres as much as others. Like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like a coach is everything, you know? And I'm also kind of like that too, where I don't do too much animation, but I'm interested in it. And I've definitely taken like workshops and coaching in that genre as well.
Right.
But you gotta allow yourself to be molded, like, you know what I'm saying? Because these are people who they're coaching it, they got experience in it, they've been doing it, they've, booked certain jobs doing that genre. So allow yourself to be molded to fit what you need to book something in that genre. And as far as coaching, like, I always tell people, like, because again, I'm a big sports person, and if you're watching like golf or something like that, or even boxing or whatever, like, um, Canelo has a trainer.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Uh, Tiger Woods had like a swinging coach or whatever. Coco Golf has a coach. Like
Yep.
these are people that are at the top of their game, and they still get pointers and tips from people who coach them up. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't care. For me, it's just kind of like whether it's year one or year 21, like there's still something you can learn because the industry changes and evolves too over time, right? The
True.
sound, whatever sound was trending in year one, probably isn't what it is in 21. And so throughout that time, you kind of got to learn the trends and work with coaches who are up on those trends, and you can again allow yourself to be molded to be bookable.
Yeah, that's very true, man. And not only that, you know, especially in our business, learn how to be available.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be your best ability is availability, and it's
Yeah.
so true. Um, because you just never know when your phone is going to buzz or that email is
Hmm.
going to drop, and they're like, "Hey, I know you auditioned for this 6 months ago, but you
That is
you you're the guy." Like, for real? I mean, I
but
ain't mad, thank you,
yeah,
but
for sure. But like, it happens. It seems like every time Pluto TV wants me, I'm about to catch a flight. Like that day. Like, you know what I mean? There were like three times, at least like two or three times where I had literally because I go back and forth from here to Florida a lot. And
yeah,
so I was in Florida. I just packed up all my gear and then got the call like, "Hey, you available?" And I got to unpack it, do it, then repack it again. That happened twice. Like, you know what I mean? It's like they know when I'm flying. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to Florida. But at the same time, I'm available. You know what I'm saying? I
that's
didn't say I wasn't, so I still get the job done. You know what I mean? But it's just funny. There's just that one client, right? For some reason, every time I'm about to catch a flight or something, they know for some reason.
there's always gonna be that one that
Yeah.
the most unfortunate time, when I had a network affiliate, uh, WCNC Charlotte for a
Hmm.
few years, And when we were moving here, because they're showing stuff on the news daily, I'm like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
just let you guys know I'm going to be on the road for a couple of days. Oh, it's fine, Trey. We'll be okay. If we need anything from the road, we'll hit you up. Every single
Day.
day on the road.
That's doing TV affiliates, man. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Yeah, they need stuff yesterday.
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And, between them and back when I was doing promo for ABC Primetime,
Hmm.
that's another one. Um, the golden handcuffs is real, y'all.
Yeah.
Um, they pretty to look at, but they also hold your ass in
Oh
place.
yeah.
And you ain't gonna come out. But it's a good thing. So when you left USF, did you immediately leave and go to New York, or what took you there?
Yeah. No, so I didn't immediately leave. So while I was there, um one of my good friends that I met there, shout out to my homie EJ. He moved up here and he also works in television production. Now he's a video editor and he's really killing it right now. And he's the one that kind of put it in my ear about moving up to New York. Because mainly because he needed a roommate. but but also like just when we were in USF together, like the stuff we would talk about, like you know what I mean, and how things that we wanted to do, like if we're gonna work in media, you might as well go to the number one media capital to really hone in. You don't have to, but like
It doesn't hurt.
it doesn't hurt, especially we're young, like you know what I mean. And so he left like the day after graduation, pretty much. Like you
Oh,
know what I
he,
mean. Yeah, he
he
had
was.
an internship lined up or whatever,
Oh, okay.
a
That's what's
job
up.
or something. He had it lined up already, and so he was gone. And then over time after that, because I was actually working at the local PBS station there. I was
Oh, cool.
freelancing there while I was in college, actually. And
Nice.
so I was doing work there, and I kind of got like my start in even doing some VO because of them, because I let them know at some point that this is what I'm doing on the side, kind of thing, and like would love to like do some stuff if you have some stuff for me to do, kind of. And then an opportunity came where there was like, hey, Torran, like, do you want to voice these little interstitials? Because on PBS they don't really have commercials; they just have like
Okay.
underwriting, like some little
Yeah.
small promos, things like that. So I kind of got my start, at least for stuff that went on to air, kind of like through them. And then so like, well, I want to end up doing some producing. That was like my goal. I want to end up doing some producing. And I definitely learned that in college, and then I kind of got my start doing it there. They gave me some projects to do to produce. And then I thought if I go to New York, I can continue the producing path and also dive into VO, like, And so then when EJ hit me up about going up there, I just kind of told him, like, not really ready yet. I'm going to save some more money, all this kind of stuff. And then maybe like, I don't know, a year or two later or so,
Okay.
I was like, I'm ready. You know what I mean? And so then I made the move up here. And, but by that time he was good. He didn't need a roommate by that time, but,
You
but yeah.
needed one probably, but
Well, I stayed at his place for a little bit.
oh,
Like
see,
before, yeah, you know what I mean? And so,
that's cool.
but yeah, that's kind of what made so it was probably like 3 years after I left college that I ended up coming up here.
Yeah.
And that was I'll date myself, but I'm not as young as you think. But that was like 12, 13 years ago. So I've been in Florida. I mean, I've been here from Florida about 12, 13 years ago.
Not
For
as
13 years from now. So
not as young as you think. Puh,
because if you do the math, you think that like whatever. If you listen to it, you'll do the math and you'll think, oh, you're only like, no, I'm older than that. So
I'm still older than him, y'all, but that's another story. So was that your first time going up north?
now I had been here to visit him actually a few
Okay.
times. And then I had came here with some other friends like way like in early 2000s. But yes, I was kind of already familiar with some of the layout of New York. I live in Brooklyn mainly because of, my homie EJ, and because he lived here during that time. And yeah, it was definitely people always ask me too, like coming from Florida and moving to New York, like what was that like? You know what I mean? Because a lot of my family and even friends down there, they talk about like the winters and what I mean, not really driving or having a
Yeah.
car, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And I don't. For me, it wasn't that big of a deal because to them, they look at it as like there's no way I can go out there those cold winters, and yeah, just always having to like what do you do for groceries? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have a car, like what do you do? Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I
You
don't,
just go get groceries.
yeah, I just carry a couple like tote bags or whatever, and just get them and come back or
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? And but I think about all the walking and stuff, like, you know what I mean? Because down there it's like there's no really public transportation like it is here, and they just think like you guys just walk everywhere, and I was like, yeah, like, you know what I mean?
Pretty
So they
much.
think it's just like really wild, but I was like, and I didn't really worry about that because the mission and the goal that I'm coming here for was more important than the luxuries of Florida. You know
Right.
what I mean? Of like, I guess good weather all the time and like having a car or whatever. It's like, yeah, I've had that forever. But like I'm on a mission here and I got something I want to do. And so whatever things that are here that I guess make me uncomfortable, even though it didn't, like whatever, I'll get through it because I have a larger goal in mind of what I want to accomplish while I'm here.
Well,
And I stay focused on
sometimes,
that and I'll be good.
yeah, I was going to say sometimes you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And, I have a lot of friends that, when I left Florida, I left at 20 and
Hmm.
did not look back. Um, I just felt like I didn't want to be that person that was in one place forever.
Yeah.
And then you miss out on just life itself. Like, if you've been in Miami all this time and you never lived anywhere else, and for some people that's cool, and I
Hmm.
ain't mad at that. But one thing moving to New York afforded me, um, I got to see different cultures, and in
Yeah.
Miami, it's a melting pot. But then New York is also a melting pot as
Yeah.
well. So I got to interact with different people. Yeah, weather and all that is a factor. Um, you
But I
know,
actually liked it 'cause, in Florida, we don't really experience seasons.
and I
Like,
wasn't mad at the snow. You know what I mean?
yeah. We had a couple bad winters, but other than that, like, they've been pretty mild the last
Well,
few
I
years.
was up there when they had the blizzard in
But
'96.
okay.
Yeah, that joint. Yeah, I was like, you might want to reconsider this.
Yeah,
But
I was just talking to somebody earlier today about, like, the winters because, um which I mean, I'm not done, I guess, talking about the whole journey, but at one point, I was working for PBS NewsHour up here, and
okay,
so there were some days where I guess there was the snowpocalypse of, like, what, 2014 or 2015 or something like
hmm,
that, and they just booked us hotel rooms across the street because they didn't
oh
really want us to go home
yeah,
because we thought, like, well, you probably won't be able to come back because it was, like, the first time and I don't know, maybe ever or like a really long time, like decades, where they were considering shutting down the trains here. Like, you know what I mean? Because it was going to be that bad.
yeah.
And so there were a couple times where like, yeah, we just had to like get a hotel room across the street and to stay there for the night and then walk back over to go to work the next day. Which is the thing if you're working news, like you can't like, news
Yeah,
don't stop, so you gotta kind of like be there.
you gotta. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like promo. You gotta,
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
availability.
Yeah.
So when you got to when you got up there, um, did you like hit the ground running in regards to VO, or did you settle in doing your actual, like you said you were at the news station? When did the transition happen? Like, okay, I've been here for a minute, you know, professor said I need to get into this VO thing. Like, who did you talk to up there, or what kind of gave you the boost to, all right, it's time to put in the work up here and make it happen?
Yeah, so I settled in for quite a bit. Like, you talk to everybody about their journey, and it's always like it's like a roller coaster. Like, I mean, like you go and you're going good, and you come down, and you know what I
Mhm.
mean. And so when I got to New York, it was more like, all right, let me kind of settle in and make sure I have a, a place to stay, work, like you know what I mean. Because at first it was kind of like these like internships slash like contract jobs with like MTV. I had one for a little bit, and this other guy that I was kind of freelancing for, editing videos for like web series. Because at that time, web series were really popular. Everyone had a web series at that time,
Yeah.
and so I was kind of doing that. And then when I got the PBS NewsHour thing, I was like, okay, cool. And then I was kind of just working that. Only thing that sucked about that was I had to work every weekend. It was like I had like a Wednesday through Sunday schedule, and
Yeesh.
yeah, so that was rough. But wasn't until like 2016 actually. I think it was like the new year of that year. I was like, the New Year's resolution was to like, all right, let's get back into this and let's go hard at this. You know what I mean? Like, and so I ended up linking up with Shut Up and Talk. They do voiceover classes and stuff up here in New York at one of the studios in Midtown. And the guy back then who was running it was Ed Lewis, and he still is a casting director and voice director today. And so I got the note from him, or I got recommended to him from someone I actually worked with at PBS NewsHour who also did VO too, like part time. And he's like, talk to Ed. Talk to Ed. They ended up taking his classes and all that, and he was great. Learned a lot from him. And then afterwards, at the end of his class, he talks to everyone kind of individually to see like if this is something you should continue pursuing if you want, or maybe like look elsewhere. You need to work on this kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So in my talk with him was like, you should definitely pursue this more. Like, you know what I mean? There's something there.
Okay.
And I was like in my head, like, yeah, I know. But and he was like, you should talk to Karen Murray. I think you'll learn a lot from her. And Karen Murray, she mainly does audiobooks, but I think now, but she's I think has a background as a singer too. Like she was, I think when she made her move to New York, she was looking to, I think, get involved in music. And so I reached out to her, and yeah, and I started taking class with her, learning from her. And then that was kind of like my early 2016. I was really diving in, meeting people, meeting these coaches and all that. And then and through her, I got connected with the great people at Lotus Productions here in New York, and Jim Kennelly and
Yeah.
and Marion. And so, and I still do stuff for them today.
Mm-hmm.
And it came from Marion. And then that's kind of what got the ball rolling here in New York with VO was yeah, Ed Lewis was Shut Up and Talk, that program, and working with Karen Murray.
That is a hell of a name, though. Shut up and talk. Like, who's
Hey, it's New York, you know. Shut up and talk. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Pretty much. So when you said, "Okay, I ain't playing no more. I'm going full speed ahead with this thing," what obstacles did you face?
Oh,
Were there any moments where you like, this might not be what I thought it was, and then what was your breakthrough that said, you know what? Nah, I this. It went from being this ain't the move to nah, I think this the move.
um, be honest with you, I never really had a thought that like, nah, this ain't it. Like, I mean, when I had that thought back when I was still in Florida, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was part of the reason why I moved up here. So if I felt that way, I would never moved up here. Like, it
Right.
was also producing as well, but then also the other part of it was VO too. So it was always just like, I just had to take a couple steps back to work on some other stuff. Like, you know what I mean? But the biggest thing was, having a full time job is finding time to like,
Yeah.
to audition and like even doing some marketing and all that. It was just tough, especially when working in news, man. It's because that doesn't stop. Like you come home and you still gotta like watch the uh, cable news channels or read the paper or stay in tune to social media feeds of like back then my Twitter was all just like reporters and journalists and all that, and so you still got to stay in tune to like to know what's happening. And so it was always tough to find time to do that, but I do remember, and it's so crazy to talk about this now because, I mean, I'm friends with him. But back when I was actually starting out before I moved to Florida,
Mhm.
I got Joan Baker's book, Voiceovers, Secrets to
Secrets
Voiceover
of what?
Success.
Right
Yeah,
there.
I know. And excuse me, but Joe Cipriano writes a chapter in that book, and I feel like it's either in that book or I think I heard him say it in an interview or something. But he said about if you could just devote an hour a day to it, but you got to make it every day,
Yep.
you'd be surprised at the progress that you make. Like, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? And so I always try to think of it that way. Like, you know what I mean? And so whenever I was at work or going to work or whatever, like, what can I do before work? Can I get 30 minutes here and then do another 30 minutes later? That's my hour. Or could I put in like just an hour before work, knowing I got something to do after work later, and that's my hour, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, even on my lunch break, what can I do? what emails can I send to people on my lunch break? You know what I
Right.
mean? And just try to find that hour, and as much as possible, make it every single day. And that was probably my biggest thing. And then, but what helped was, so I ended up working at PBS NewsHour for about 5.5 years or so, and then ended up, and it's so funny because at the time I kind of felt like I got to get off this weekend schedule. I've been saying that forever, but you work with people, you're in the trenches together, and like you form a bond, like you know what I
Sure.
mean. And so like all those people that I work with, like man, they're all cool. Like I love them. We used to tough it out working weekends, but whatever, I gotta do what I gotta do. You know what I mean? And so I did find an opportunity to become a podcast producer for this children's audio streaming company. And so I saw that and I was like, do I send them my voiceover reel or my resume? You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so I was like, well, let me just send them my resume. You know what I mean? Because I think I can do some stuff if I get the job there within voiceover too, whatever. And so I did, and ended up having an interview with them. And I never worked in children's media before, so I didn't have that experience. But um, during the interview, the woman who interviewed me, Amy, shout out to her, she's awesome. She ended up telling me, it's like, yeah, I know I don't see like children's media in your background, but I'm not really worried about that. I'm looking for someone who can produce, and your background shows that you can produce something. I need someone that can juggle different projects. You know what I mean? And we'll help you out and get you on like the children's media side of it, because all of us
Okay.
here have that background or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I went through that, and she didn't hire me.
Oh boy.
But she said, keep in touch with me because we may have another producer job opening up at the end of the year. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I always had that in the back of my head. And one thing that I am good at, and I know people have told me this and I know I'm good at, is keeping in touch with people. And so she said that. I took her up on it. I worked on a little side project with some buddies. I just shared it with her as like a touch point. Say, hey, this is something I worked on that I produced, blah, 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 whatever. And then she was like, what are you doing next Thursday? Another producer position did open. Can you come in? I was like, yeah, sure. Long story short, ended up getting the job then.
There you go.
And then from there, I was like a podcast producer. You know what I mean? I had never produced a podcast before, but, learn on the job training. At the time, she did like my voiceover background. So I got to do some VO stuff there. So they were more, and it wasn't news. So they were more open and understanding of like that part of me, to where I could take some long launches. Cause even back then, like there were still auditions that were in person that I had to go to,
Yeah.
So I did take some long lunches, and they were okay with it to like go to like whatever studio to do like a voiceover audition. And since, and even back then, my agent was like, you don't have to worry about, it doesn't have to be great. We'll just send you to a studio. Just record the audition in your phone. So I go into a conference room and just record it in
Woo.
my phone. Like, I mean? That's definitely pre-pandemic.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
very, very gracious of them.
yeah. Yeah. So, but even still, like they would know, like that's what I'm doing. And they were pretty open to the idea. And so that helped as far as like what I was battling at NewsHour, as far as like when and how I can find time to do these auditions and things. And in the NewsHour, I couldn't be gone for like, 20, 25 minutes where someone's like, where's Torran? I need Torran for this, blah, 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 whatever. Like, it was different vibe when I
Yeah.
was doing the podcasting thing. So that helped. So that kind of helped me get over that obstacle. Like, as far as trying to find time for stuff.
Sure. That's I am familiar with, and it wasn't in production, but when you work on the weekends, man, it's like,
Oh, I missed out on a lot of stuff, man.
yeah, before FOMO was a thing,
Yeah.
you really experience it, because it's like, yeah, man, we doing such and such Saturday night. Yeah, I don't get out of work till, I worked 9 at night till 4 in the morning.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
See, I would come in at like, I think I had to be there at 9, and we didn't leave till like I think 7 or so, because we would do the show, and then after our show aired at 5, but then after the show was over, we had to stick around because we had to wait in case there was breaking news to update the show for the West Coast.
yeah,
So we would do the show and just kind of sit around and chill for like an hour or so. And I'll be like, man, can we leave? Like, we can't. So then we had to just wait and wait and wait. And then once we got the all clear, we can leave. But it was always like around till like 7-ish or something like that.
Right.
And then people would go out and do stuff. And I'm in New York City. There's always tons of things to do, and people are doing
Of
this, we're
course.
doing that. Like, I gotta work, or I can go, but I gotta be out by like 8:39 because I gotta wake up early tomorrow to get back to work. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, but yeah, but it is what it is. And I did that. That was a certain part of my life when I first moved to New York. But definitely I learned a lot from that job as far as just within like different like politics,
Yeah.
just world, even not only our politics, but like world politics, stuff about the world. And it was definitely an education, like having that job. I got to meet some pretty cool people too.
I'm sure.
So but yeah, and I still have, friends from that time. And yeah, so
That's what's up. I know dating must have sucked though.
yes, it did. But 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 you'd be surprised, like a lot of them are a lot of girls I dated during that time, like they were understanding of it. Like, you know what I mean? They did think that like my job was cool, you know what I mean? Because to them it was like to see, I guess, your name in the credits every day, or all the time. They thought that was cool, which is something I had always been used to, even when I worked at the local station in Tampa. You know what I mean? But yeah, and also just working in production and doing that kind of stuff. It's pretty common here in New York, but
Right.
there's still some people that aren't in that world. And
Yeah.
so it's always a lot of questions, like almost like doing voiceover, right? You know what I mean? A lot of people always have questions when you tell them that's what you do. And television production, a little bit less so, but still it was interesting. But
I think the fascination is because they're adjacent to someone who they feel is in the business. You know,
yeah.
just like with VO now, if you take a look at so let's say I don't want to say average because that sounds demeaning, but let's say a regular person who works a 9 to 5 or is going to school or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're like your best friend or that's your partner, your homeboy, and or even a family member. When they see your name in something or if they hear your voice on something, for us it's the job, but for them, it's like, that's my
It's
cousin, right?
different. Yeah.
It's it
Yeah,
it,
that is definitely my mom for sure. And other people in my family too, but definitely my mom. Which
yeah.
she should be. Like, you know what I mean?
I think mama's gonna always want to show off,
Yeah.
especially for their sons. The daughters, yeah, it's like that's baby girl. But if the son do something,
Yeah.
oh, child, he was just on such and such. Did y'all hear him on the? She called everything commercial. Yeah,
That
his
is true.
commercial just played. I'm
Yeah.
like, Mom, that's a promo. That's what I said. That's not nice.
It's just
Stop.
the same, not the same thing.
You
Like I
know.
remember, I think one of the first things that she was like super like that about was I did it was like a sizzle reel for I don't know if you're familiar with Ghetto Gastro at all, but
Oh
they're
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
you are? Yeah, yeah. So I do some stuff for them, and like the
That's what's
first thing
up.
I did for them was like a sizzle reel, just talking about who they are and all that. And they were gonna be on on Rachel Ray's show,
Oh,
and they
oh,
wanted to make a video that I guess Rachel Ray was gonna play to introduce them.
right.
So I did the video, and then told my mom I was gonna be on there, and then she saw it and she was like beaming, like you know what I mean? Because I think it was like the first thing that she was familiar with that my
Mhm.
voice was on. Because like I said, I did like those other PBS things. It's kind of like whatever. But Rachel Ray, like, ooh, I know her and all this stuff. And so
Right.
like she was like really proud. She saved it on the DVR forever. We're trying to show the people before and
Oh yeah,
behind.
that was
But
definitely a proud moment.
yeah.
My mom, so she goes to the community center, community park, and they have like a lot of activities for seniors. And
Yeah.
I'll I'll send her a video of a spot I did. She said, "Well, email it to me so I can, take it to the park." So which in mama speak is, let me go show off my son one time.
Yeah.
What Larry doing? What is no good sell? Well, my son was just on wait, let me get it, and now you got to go and show it off, and it's cool. But let's jump on that for a bit.
Yeah.
Support. How important has it been in your career? Because you, like myself, we left home base and said, I gotta go out here and do my thing. I
Yeah.
still love y'all, but I gotta go see what's out there for me. Um, did you get any kind of backlash? Was everybody like, man, go on, do your thing. We'll be here. We rooting for you. Like, and how is your support system now?
Yeah, back then it was I remember when I first had the idea of moving up here, and it's probably like relatable to a lot of people if they have something that they want to try to do and kind of held on to it. I didn't really tell anybody. Like, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
like I wanted to go to pursue, producing and being a voice actor and all this stuff.
Mhm.
Because you are afraid of that somebody be like, what are you doing? Like, why would you go there to do that? Blah, blah, blah. Like, stay here, or like
Yeah.
New York is crazy. Why would you want to go there? And all this- So I didn't really say anything to anybody. But then at a certain point, like I don't remember how I started telling people that I'm doing this, but it ended up happening, and I didn't get any of that from anybody. My friends or family down in Florida, which was great. Um, so they definitely gave me all the support, and and still to this day, like they're very very supportive of me. Um, and now, uh, definitely other people in my life now, and they're still very very supportive. And I think they've seen the maturation and the journey that I've been on since that time, you know, and they're just kind of like, man, he did it, like, you know what I mean, or he's doing it, or whatever. And it's not so much that they're surprised. It's more like because again, they kind of know the type of person I am, and
Mm.
that I am a person that put my mind to something, I'm gonna at least try it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so and he did it, but not only did he do it, but it's actually like it's coming together. Like, you know what I mean? Every time like I post something about, what I've did or where I'm going or whatever, who I've worked with or whatever. Um, I mean that's all marketing, but like for them, they probably look at it as like, I'm bragging, which I'm not. I'm just trying to like let people know I'm active. I'm booking,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Like
But
I'm doing the
yeah,
work.
I'm doing it. But they see that and they're like he actually did it. And they're very proud of me. And that means a lot because they don't really know what was going on in here during
Yeah.
those times where like I wasn't sure or have that imposter syndrome about like trying this, like, you know what I mean? And so I couldn't be happier with the support that I have from my friends and family, and they're always like every time I go back down to Florida and I link up with them, they always want to know, like, that one thing you posted about, like, what's the story behind that? Like, you know what I mean? How'd you get that? What's going on with this? Or whatever. And
Yeah.
so, and again, like they don't know anybody that's also a voice actor. So me telling them stories about it or whatever, it's just really interesting to them, And
Yeah.
so,
You're gonna
and
be
that
there.
makes me feel very good about what I'm doing every single time I talk to them.
Yeah,
So
you're gonna be their point of reference.
yeah,
You know, for most of us, we're not trying to, you know, get into Hollywood. I mean, if it happens, I ain't mad, but that wasn't
yeah,
the goal.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
we're kind of in. Uh, I heard somewhere where this guy was saying, as a voice actor, at least to our family, in some way, we're kind of celebrities, and
someone posted that on my Facebook the other day, like an old friend of mine. She's like, "Oh, I know a celebrity," and I was like, "Celebrity? Ain't no damn celebrity. What are you talking about?"
there is a
It's
good.
just T. It's me, baby.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine, her name is Claire, and Claire, she's always like, "I'm gonna get your autograph one day." I'm like, "Why? What do you what is it gonna do for you? Nothing. No one outside of VO knows who I am."
Yeah,
"Well, I know you." Well, then we can take a picture. How about
yeah,
that? But me signing the napkin, unless all of a sudden I'm the main character in a Pixar movie or something,
yeah.
you like, "I used to work with him. That's my dude." Then, yeah, I'd be like, "Too Claire, you always believed in me." But now I'm
They
like,
say Tre Mosley. That's a dude from Madden. Let me get his picture. Let me get his autograph. That's what I would do.
see, now you start and stuff. Now you start. But yeah, support is good. And I think, especially, I've asked people this that are not from the culture. Um and it's always been a little different. Um, but I think and now I'm gonna hop on my soapbox for a second.
Go ahead.
With Black families, there's one dynamic where they in or they like, you sure that's what
Mm.
you want to do? Because
Yeah.
Bernie Mac once said, I don't believe it till it happened. So when you
Mhm.
tell somebody, because think about it, if let's say you a 14, 15-year-old, like, yeah, man, I'm in here making beats. I'm trying to get on with Young Jock or get on with so and so. Like, boy, nobody want to hear them little ass beats you got.
Them Fisher Price beats, no one
Yeah,
wanna hear
nobody
that.
want to hear that. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden, somebody like, hey, you made that? Yeah. Well, holla at my homeboy. He know such and such and blah blah blah. And like, Mom, I need your permission to go to New York. What you go to New York for? These dudes want to buy my song. Now it's like,
Oh, crap.
oh, for real?
Yeah.
I always knew, but now you see, because my
Mhm.
mom was like that, my sisters were like that, where they didn't necessarily try to dissuade me from getting the voiceover, but when I would tell them, yeah, I'm, you know, trying to go into VO full time. Well, that's cool. Hey, Amtrak is hiring,
Yeah, yeah.
and they need porters, and you can travel all around the country. I'm like, I won't have time to record. Well, you can do that too. I'm like, I really couldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and that was part of the thing about when I said, about how I kept the idea to, pursue this
You
on a
kept it
grander
you
level because
internalized
I didn't wanna face that, like, you know what I'm saying?
You're right, you're
And
right.
and so, like, but luckily for me, like, unless they had the thought and didn't tell me, but no one told me that. Like, you know what I mean?
My
Like,
sister admitted it to me after the
afterwards.
success.
Yeah, yeah,
She was
yeah,
like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think you was going,
yeah.
but you shut a lot of us up. I'm like, why it gotta
Yeah, be like
be like that? Just
yeah. So there
believe.
probably are people like that, but no
Yeah,
one's told me that, like, you know
yeah.
what I mean? But,
So
it is what it is. I know what I'm capable of. I know, um, how badly I wanted it and how much I'm gonna go for it,
yeah.
and there's some sacrifice involved for sure,
Oh,
and
trust.
so I'm gonna do it, like, you know what I mean? I just felt like if I am going to, at that time, move up here to, pursue the things I wanna pursue, that and producing and all that, and miss out on a whole bunch of, like, weddings and birthdays and time with family and stuff back in Florida, I'm gonna make it worth it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I'm going to, like, succeed at this, So
And you hope that they understand, like, look, as bad as I want to be there, if I leave out today and I miss this booking, I'm gonna be at the event just like I could have been.
yeah.
"Huh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just missed out on
Don't talk to me.
this promo. On the what's that? And now you gotta go explain it. So I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
I get that. So I want to ask you a couple of questions in regards to, and this will uh lighten the mood a bit. So when did you have your I think I made it moment? Like
Oh,
like everything just comes like, okay, this is happening, and maybe you had a certain gig, and you got the check and was like, oh, word? Like when did that moment happen for you?
man, probably, mm, I think I booked a bunch of Walmart radio commercials
Mhm.
last year, and, Walmart's it's a big brand,
Oh yeah.
like, you know what I mean? And so, and it wasn't just one, it was like quite a few of them. It was like a campaign of them.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, it wasn't TV, it was radio, but still. But I was like, "That's awesome," and, like, the check I got for that was pretty good, pretty nice. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, um, and but yeah, so I think, like, I mean, I'm trying to think of some other ones, uh, but that was one because that was actually my first, like, um, SAG job too.
Oh
With
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, like, so that was kinda like the one where I was kinda like, "Hey, like, hmm, I guess big Walmart wants me, so
I'm doing something
um,
right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah, so if you take Madden out of it, because that was huge for me
oh yeah.
in so many ways. But I had a big pharma national that ran, and I remember it. It was Thanksgiving 21, and that was the first time I saw it air.
Hmm.
I was like, oh yeah. And that was a union. It was national, but it was union. So that was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
first time getting residual. So the first time I got
Mhm.
paid for it, I was like, oh, where?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That first residual check came in. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, what?
Yeah. I'll probably say that too. The first time I got one of those too made me feel like, "Oh, crap." Like, you know what I
Yo,
mean? And it wasn't like a huge amount, but it was still like,
yeah.
man, like they pay me just to play it again. I don't gotta do nothing else. Like
That commercial fed me for 4 years, bro. They just,
wow.
yeah. Um, I remember doing it as a demo, and we just kept doing demo spots for it for like 4 months. I'm like, look, tell them don't send me no more demos. Either they gonna book me for this thing or not.
Yeah.
And they finally did. It was like it's gonna air probably sometime around Thanksgiving. And my boy BZ was over here at the crib, and we were having Thanksgiving dinner because the Raiders were playing the Cowboys, and Silver and Black did what it was supposed to do that day. And
Like everybody against the Cowboys. Yeah.
whoa, pew pew pew, screaming and crying. But and then it came on, and I still remember the line. Take a moment to pause and ask yourself, why did you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia? I'm like, that's
Oh,
right. Why did you get
the
vaccinated? Let me get that, please.
the
And
velvety tones of Tre Mosley.
hey, now that, and it was just the cool factor of it.
Yeah.
Um, and then, and I asked someone this a couple of podcasts ago. I said, when you got your first, baller check, what'd you spend? What'd you spend on yourself? What'd you splurge? What'd you get? That you like, you know what? I earned this. Usually I wouldn't do this, but swipe, I'm gonna do it today.
For me, I mean, I don't really splurge on anything like that, honestly.
And that's the
Like, you know what
thing.
I
I
mean?
have to make myself. That's why I got so many damn toys in here. And I got action figures.
You
Like,
do.
look, I got the Voltron up in this piece. It's
I've
like,
seen you post about some of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it for me because I I I loathe, capital L, shopping of any kind.
Yeah.
I like to get in, get out. But,
Oh, same. Yeah.
you know, I remember see, this is what social media has just tainted good things because I want to say something, but they can like, oh, he just flex. It's not you know what? The hell with y'all.
Heck
It's a
with them.
flex, and I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
it.
This is your show. Do what you want, man.
You got a point, sir.
Yeah.
So check this. It was my first NBA check.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you the amount. It was for 20 racks.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, babe, where you want to go? what you trying to do? She was like, how much was it? It was that much. Oh Lord. I said, yeah. You stick with the big kitty tonight, babe. We doing something. And we did it up, because I felt like in 2009, when I had first started, the thought of wanting to be in VO,
Hmm.
and the biggest check I had seen at that time was $200. And you couldn't tell me nothing because I'm like, I just sat here for 10 minutes and made $200 when I have friends that work part-time at the Pick and Save, and they working 25 hours a week, and that might be their whole check.
Yeah.
I did that in 10 minutes to where fast forward a decade later, and I'm still working, the same 5 minutes, but the zeros just got a little longer.
Different.
So I had to celebrate. I'm like,
Yeah. You
Look,
gotta celebrate and treat yourself and celebrate your wins. Like, I mean,
yeah,
however you feel that is for you. Like, you know what I mean? If you get that and you tell your girl, like, let's go, like whatever it is y'all want to do, like to remember that time when you got just the $200 was most you've ever seen, like you
yeah.
gotta do it every once in a while. So
And I'm not giving myself enough credit. That the first actual big campaign I had was the NASCAR campaign. Um,
okay.
and I'm still, to my knowledge, because no one has yet to correct me, but I think I was one of the first African American males to do NASCAR.
Mm.
So
I didn't even know you did NASCAR.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did a campaign in 2018, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Okay.
And that campaign was nice too. And I remember because uh we had just got a new car. The car we have now, the Lexus, we had just got it from CarMax.
Hmm.
And they put this little bow on it and all that. And when I booked the NASCAR, because I did NASCAR on radio, I did NASCAR on Sirius, and I did it for television. So
Okay.
I, I had all bases covered, and
Yeah.
that joint was nice. And I remember, I'm like, where you want to go tonight? And we had this back in Florida. Uh, Before we moved out here, we went to the Brazilian steakhouse, where they come in,
Okay.
they bring you
The
different
whole
cuts
thing.
of meat. Like, would you like a slice of this? And I'm like, I would like a slice of that.
Yes, I would.
Anything else you and what's that? Oh, this is our special beef wrapped in bacon. I would like a slice of that too. And
I'll take two of
yeah,
those.
and we was doing it. I mean, big. It was a feeling of, you know, this is why you work and get, you know, locked in your room for
Yeah.
hours. And it was an accomplishment. And I still struggle with accepting accomplishments, as you know I have to find things to reward myself.
Hmm.
um and she's like, you need to celebrate yourself more. She's been telling me that for 8 years. I'm like,
Yeah.
I do know you don't do it enough. You have to celebrate yourself more. I'm like, but look at all the Transformers. More than meets the eye. That's selling.
This makes me happy.
She's like, no. Like, so like you said, when you were saying giving me my flowers, she's like, you have to accept that more. You have to celebrate yourself more. Appreciate the wins,
Hmm.
because there may be a time, let's knock on whatever this, if it's not wood, but knock on something,
I'm
that
not gonna some
we
wood for you.
we're here right now, but then it might
You just never
before
know,
it come
right?
back up. So while
Yeah.
we're here, enjoy it and celebrate it. So
Yeah.
I'm leaning into that more, I think. And especially once I turned 50 last year, I started to get into my head. I want to start doing things before my dash is filled. And
Yeah. Hmm.
I had to explain to somebody. I said, when you die, on your tombstone or your gravesite, there's the year you were born and the year you died. That dash in the middle is the life you live. So
That's what counts.
how are you
Yeah.
filling out your dash? So that's
Hmm.
why I'm back into music production and writing and all that stuff, because I
Yeah.
want to make sure that my dash is so filled with so much stuff that when they put
Stuff that
that,
you enjoy and your passions and
yeah.
yeah.
So when
Hmm.
they put 2000 in question mark, I'm like, you know what? He did it. So he did all
Yeah,
he
man.
was supposed to
And
do.
just so you know, you say all that stuff, like, you know what I mean, about like doing the NASCAR and probably the first African American to do that, and all the like NBA stuff you've done, even because I'm a big WWE guy, I like watching that, all the stuff you do for them. Like I've seen that over the years. And so during that time that we've talked about earlier, from like when I moved to New York, 2016, all that kind of stuff, like I've been following you and watching you like all that time. And you
Oh,
were been a big inspiration for me.
appreciate
Like
it.
you, Donovan, Joe Cipriano, like all you guys were like people that I watched online to be able to give me the inspiration and motivation I needed to keep going and to get to the point where I'm at. So as far as accepting flowers, thank you. And so to be here talking to you on Take Time Out with Trey, like, you know what I mean? So like This is my made it moment right here.
Oh, cut it out, man.
So, but yeah, man. And so like be able to be like, friends and I've coached with Donovan and talked to him and like, and same thing with Joe, who's a legend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's amazing. So, but you guys are the ones that like really I've been watching for like a long time before I felt like
Yeah.
I shouldn't even be breathing the same VO air that they do.
Cut it
Like,
out.
you know what I'm saying?
But you know what though, man? I was like that with Joe.
Yeah.
And Joe is the type of cat, and shout out to you, Sip, if you see this. He's the type of cat, man, that if he's had a bad day, you'll never know about it. Because when
that is true.
He is smiling. He's
always,
he's encouraging. He's like, Trey, what's going on, buddy? I'm like, Joe.
Like, that's a good Joe impression.
Yeah. He's like, Trey, what's going on, man? And how's Danielle doing? Is she still in school? Oh, that's awesome, buddy. Like, he is just.
No, he is, man. That's him 1,000%.
That's him.
Yeah, exactly.
And he and I met in person probably almost about 10 years ago. But how I first got my introduction to Joe Cipriano, there used to be this app called Periscope.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I remember I had just bought Secrets of Voiceover Success, and I started. I joined his Periscope page, and what Joe used to do, he had a laptop with a camera on it, and he would take his laptop, and this is when they still lived in LA. He would, set it up to where you could see him. And he had a U87. So his U87 would come down right here. And he's like, so guys, this is my live promo session for the Queen Latifah show. I'm the invoice announcer, and I'm gonna tell who's gonna be on the show, and we'll be right back. And coming up next, so he has he has like one can on, and he's queuing in. Coming up next on the Queen Latifah show, and then he gets quiet. So he's explaining, they're showing the video now, and then I come back in. The Queen's gonna have so-and-so and so-and-so next. So-and-so coming up on the Queen Latifah show. And he's like, okay, that's good. So he's really.
I wish I would have known about that back then.
Yeah, he was really giving us the game on how it went down. And he used to have a stopwatch around his neck when he's cutting promos and doing commercials. He's like, gang, you got to keep it under 30 seconds. And he would hit that boop and get into his promo. And when he hit it, that joint was like on 29.6.
Yeah. Yeah. He would always talk about that. Like, you got to measure your soul clock.
Yeah. And he would always say, I said, well, how do you find work? He's like, well, sometimes work has to find you, buddy. I'm like, well, what does that mean? He's like, read the trades. I'm like, I don't know what the trades are. So he started telling me different magazines and like Variety. I still to this day subscribe to Variety because of Joseph Cipriano. But it's a great periodical to have, because the back pages, they're always telling you if there's a new show coming. If this person is now left that company to go to that company, like, maybe they might need someone in that department to do something.
Yeah.
So you're always trying to put something together to get an advantage on everybody else, because we're all out here marketing. That's how we post our jobs on social media, because we're our industry, even though they might not see us, but if they see our work and go, who voiced that?
Work is familiar. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you have to find some way to stay relevant in this industry. Dave Fenoy told me he gave me this parable about the cycle of a voice actor, where you start off and they go, well, who's Torran Wakefield-Thompson? And then it goes to get me Torran Wakefield-Thompson.
Yeah.
And then it goes to, well, I can't afford him now, so get me someone that sounds like Torran Wakefield-Thompson. And then the clock goes all the way back around, because now if your relevance has fallen off, it goes back to
Who is Torran Wakefield-Thompson? Exactly. I've heard that before.
And
But yeah,
before,
that's totally right though.
yeah. So before I let you go, I asked you about it before we came on, and you said that, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about the significance of your name and what
Mhm.
makes it special to you and why you use it.
Yeah, I was just saying that yeah, so my name is my government name. It's just Torran Wakefield. But but I added Thompson to my name just to honor my stepdad who came into my life when I was 8, 9 or so. And but I think it was like in middle schoolish, I decided to just put Dash Thompson in my name just to honor him. Um so my name is really just Torran Wakefield, but Torran Wakefield Thompson, it's symmetrical too. TWT is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So but I started going by that and it just sounds very dignified. So you know what I mean? And but yeah, so that's the reason why I go by that. And as far as people know, some people just know me as that. They don't really know like it's just Torran Wakefield. But people I grew up with know that. But like
How did it feel?
um my stepdad is a man of few words. So I actually never really had a conversation with him about it. But I know he's proud though. I know that like when we are together and he's talking to like his friends or people um in his circle and he'll say like, "Hey, meet my son." He has no idea exactly what I do, kind of thing. He knows I do something with a microphone, but but I just see the way he talks about me to other people, and I know he's super proud and happy about what I've done or am doing,
Yeah.
whatever. So I know he's generally proud of me, and and that makes me happy about that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Dads, especially, black fathers, they don't, they're either gonna, it's two extremes. They're gonna either talk a whole bunch about you, but to you, they're not gonna say much. And you like,
yeah.
did you even or they'll hit you, "Hey, I saw your thing the other night." You're like, "I didn't realize you what?"
You watched it,
Yeah,
yeah.
man, I'm just
Yeah, my mom shows him everything because, like, he's not very technologically savvy at all with anything, right?
Mhm.
I mean, other than, like, he knows how to work his phone, that's about it. Like, you know what I mean? But she'll say, like, "You see this thing Torrin did or whatever?" And then she'll either send him a link or something like that. And, and then when I am down there, he was like, "I saw that thing you did with blah, 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 whatever. Oh, that's cool." Like, you know what I mean? But, but he doesn't really know how to, like, I guess, uh talk about, I guess, voiceover what I do. Because again, not too many you don't really know too many people to do this. So
exactly.
the average person. So um, but yeah, so that's where the Thompson part of my name comes from.
That's real cool, man.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like you wouldn't have done that if he didn't have an impact on you. So shout out to Pops for standing in the gap and helping your development to the
Yeah,
young.
when I was younger, yeah, for sure. I think the part of the reason why, and sometimes, I have to tell myself to kind of pull back a little bit, but I think some of the time part of the reason why I do work as hard as I do is my time working with him as a kid. Um, we used to work in that hot Florida sun together, doing landscape work and
Oh boy.
sprinkler irrigation kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And we would work hard doing that, and he worked hard doing that stuff as well. And so there's some valuable lessons I learned from him just working with him.
Yeah.
Not in the actual work as well, but then also just like life stuff. Like you spend that much time with your dad or stepdad or whatever, you're gonna hear some like lessons and learn some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you
Being,
know what I mean?
being the
And
example.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
so definitely like that that time definitely rubbed off on me as far as like how hard, like working hard, the results you get from working hard,
Yeah.
doing it right the first time. You know what I mean? Don't slack off because you're gonna have to go back and redo it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, buddy.
Little stuff like that, like, you know what I mean? That definitely carried over into adult touring that I hold with me. And that's all part of adding the Thompson to my last name. So to not forget about that stuff. So
That's what's up, man. All
yeah,
right.
man.
Favorite part of the show.
Let's do it.
How does Mr. Torran Wakefield-Thompson, when the mic is off and you're out the booth, how does he take time out for himself?
Well, I said earlier that I like to watch wrestling, WWE. I like to watch that. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do like to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm chilling, like I'm throwing on something WWE related usually. And just it's like my silly, trashy reality show that I like to watch. Like, you know what I mean? Like I know you do all the NXT promos. Like, I mean, every time I watch it, and I'm like, there go Trey, man. Like, you know what I mean? Doing them NXT promos, man. And so like
just recorded something today, as a matter of fact.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like yeah, that's like actually to tell you the truth, like that. So being from Tampa, I'm a Buccaneers fan. I love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Probably like Simpsons, Family Guy. Those are like dream jobs for me. Like if I ever do anything like that, like you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
and even GTA, like I think did I say Grand Theft Auto? That's another one. But like Grand Theft Auto, like if I was just like a random pedestrian on the street, I would love that because I used to crack up at that stuff all the time,
bro.
And that's like a dream. Even not even a character, like a playable, not like that. Just say a bunch of random shit just to be like a production or a random pedestrian.
Get the hell out my way! And now I'm playing the whole game. Like, wait, I'm coming. Yeah, that's me right there. If you don't move, like, yeah, I was in GTA.
Yeah,
who was your character?
Random pedestrian number 3 with the hat, like you know what I mean? Spazzing out or something, like you know what I mean? But like, but yeah. So, but to answer your question, to kick back like that. Even though I do live in the concrete jungle that is New York City, I like to get out to see some nature. Like, you know what I mean? I think that drives it for sure. So if I can hop on the Metro North train and go upstate somewhere, I've done that a few times, either by myself or with friends or people. And I don't run as much as I used to, but going for a run is they're always been very therapeutic to me. I get a lot of thinking done when I go running. So so now it's kind of go to like a little park nearby and just kind of like run around the park or something like that and just sit on the bench and just kind of like be in deep thought. And that's kind of how I like come up with some creative ideas. That's how I come up with like just things that I kind of put off that I need to like do or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just kind of how I kick back. I guess that's not really like kicking back and relaxing if I'm thinking about things I got to do. But basically a lot of stuff runs through my head. And most of it's just very relaxing and very chill and just counting my blessings. Like, you know what I mean? So
that's what's up.
That's kind of what I do. Yeah.
All right. Well, tell the folks how they can follow you and you know, get a bird's eye view of what you're doing and in the social world.
Yeah. Pretty much everything is Torran, TORRAN _VO. Instagram, TikTok. I don't really use TikTok. I have an account, but I haven't put anything on there in forever. And I've been meaning to put up or make a blue social. Is that what's called? Blue Sky or something like that?
Blue Sky. Yeah, I got to do that too.
Because I don't really mess with Twitter that much anymore, or X, whatever it is. So I mean to do that, but everything is just Torran _VO. I'm on Instagram the most. I'm on Facebook. Search my name. LinkedIn. Search my name. I'm there. My website, torranvo.com. You can find stuff on there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And
give the brother some work, y'all.
Give him send me an email to say hello. Just say, email me, torran@torranvo.com.
He ain't hard to find, man.
Yeah, I'm not, man.
He ain't hard to find. But Torran, I thank you so much, brother, for hopping on.
Thank you, man.
Hey, man, this has been real cool to sit down and chop it up with you. You know,
another Florida one. That's that Florida stuff. That's what I want to get into. So earlier when I shouted out the Knowles, you had this look on your face. But just know that, like, of all the Florida schools, as a kid, I like them all. The main ones, which are FSU, SU, Miami.
That's correct.
I grew up in Tampa, so I like the Bulls.
Yeah.
I just don't mess with the Gators, man.
You know what?
I don't mess with the Gators. Though.
I'm good there. I'm good there because I even have my FSU moments. But I think the mutual hate for the University of Florida, I ain't mad.
That's it.
We can end it right
There you go.
All right, y'all. This concludes another episode of Take Time Out with Tre. And take some time out for yourself. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley podcast, part of TMX Creative. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube on the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley YouTube page. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. Either way, we'll see you soon.